Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast here to tell you about Michelob Ultra Courtside. It's getting fans closer to the NBA with a chance to win prizes like courtside seats, a trip to All-Star Weekend, and much more. Check it out at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access, Courtside 24-25 sweepstakes, no purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 and up. Begins on October 1st, 2024, ends July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit MichelobUltra.com/courtside for free entry deadlines, and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
On this episode of Bantha Milk Podcast, we talk about Star Wars.
For a change.
Intro music.
Feels no good to be dead. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
You're freaking me out, man.
And we're back. Hey, how are you, Rob?
Good, how are you?
I'm all right. It's been a minute. Not as long as it has been in the past, but I'll say it's been long enough that your beard is making a return now.
Yeah, because I haven't shaved. That's all, whatever.
Oh, I thought it was because you have your weigh-in for Biggest Loser coming up and you're trying to pack on as many pounds as you can.
The extra 2 ounces
If
of
that,
the beard.
facial, hey, man, every ounce
hair
counts, all right?
That's right. It sure does.
Well, we're back for another episode of the Bantha Milk Podcast.
The
Best Banter,
Milk.
Beskar, and Bantha Milk,
That's
a Mandalorian podcast.
The best Bantha Milk podcast there is.
As we were once known, that's
we
right.
We were once known. Too much alliteration for people. They didn't like it.
Yeah, we try and bring some high class to this podcast, John, and people just shoot us down.
Think of me.
It's
It's too hard for me to say. I don't remember.
What is
it.
Beskar? Anyway, that was spot on.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that was all of our fans right there. We just
every single one of them.
We just insulted every single one.
Congrats.
of them. They're all.
We've got a couple people who are going to be very angry at us.
They are.
Just a few.
There's a few people who will not be happy.
Anyway, so we have a fun one today because not only are we going to be like talking some Bad Batch, but we also have some actual Star Wars beers.
Yeah, some real Star Wars beers to talk about.
So let's talk about these beers because I want to break one open.
Good friend Adam sent these to us, and Adam, they all showed up intact. I now know how to package beer to ship across the country, which I was very happy about that.
Yeah, and we will have video evidence in case we die. The murder will be
right, Adam. Yeah.
Online. So yeah, it was Adam. If we drink these beers and in 20 minutes, all of a sudden we're
drop, foaming at the mouth and we're dropping.
Go for Adam.
Find Adam.
It's all Adam.
That's right. But he sent us 5 different beers, all Star Wars themed. 2 years ago or so, he wrote to us telling us about how he made a Star Wars beer, and it was very impressive. And we were having some good conversation back and forth via email.
This one has a skull with some X's below it on it.
That's fine. Yeah. How many X's are there?
I think it's 3.
3 X's? That's perfect.
That's the perfect amount of X's.
Yeah, that's the perfect amount of X's underneath the skull. Yeah, that means that it's wonderful.
That's the best kind of X's. I got you.
1 X, you got to be worried about those. But if there's 3 X's,
you're fine.
Spot on.
That's
yes.
it.
So he made 5 more different variations of beers. One is a stout called the Dark Side Imperial Stout.
Sure.
He sent us that. One's a Hefeweizen, which is good. It's a nice German beer. Yeah. Inside the Uteni tree Weizen. Is that it? Is Uteni?
Uteni?
Uteni. He's like throwing stuff that even we don't know.
Yeah.
Uneti.
Uneti?
Yeah, look that up. And then the Tatooine Holiday Blonde Ale, which is what we're going to drink tonight.
Oh, hold on. I'm almost positive I know what this is.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
And the Carbonite Decoration Pale Ale, which we have both of those that we're going to crack those open tonight. And then a Loth Wolf Voyage IPA. He sent that as well. We're not going to have those tonight. We're going to try the blonde and the pale ale tonight, and I'm sure they're going to be delicious. What is the Uteni tree?
So Uneti tree, it was in a couple different, but it's a force-sensitive tree.
Oh, I like that.
Tree Jedi.
Tree Jedi.
Think Treebeard from Lord of the Rings.
Right.
But
is it Hodor?
Well, Hodor is not a tree.
No, but like, weren't they standing around a tree when he was saying Hodor?
I think they were just hanging out with the tree, and then they ran away from the tree.
Okay.
And he was holding the door to the tree.
To the tree, letting them out of the tree.
There was a tree involved.
There was a tree, yes. I do remember that.
But if you want, I know a guy. He's got a Game of Thrones podcast.
Yes.
And
I
could
he's
confer with him.
spot on.
Yeah.
You have to talk to his co-host, Kim. She knows everything there is to know about that.
All right.
But he does not. He just follows along.
So what one are we going to crack open first?
So
here?
let's crack open the pale ale first.
I like it.
Yeah.
Are these twist off?
I doubt it. Oh, that was a good pop, but I didn't do it. Here, you got to do it into the mic.
Ah!
Hey-oh.
All right, into the mic.
So here's my pale ale, and we have our small flight glasses. Oh, that was a good one.
It didn't suck.
It didn't suck.
Ah!
Oh, that's
The beer attacked me as it came out of the bottle. That's not a good sign, Rob.
well. There's like I said, there's 3 X's on it, so
That's
it's
it. That's the problem.
That's the best way.
All right, let's see. Let's check out our pours here.
So check out our pours. See who has a better
It's
pour
so
of
tiny.
the blonde ale. Yeah. Oh. Okay. I like it. Not bad. Let's see your. Oh, you have a little bit better head than I. Yeah, you
I
get
think
good
I
head.
win that one.
Yeah.
Whoa, Rob. Okay,
Oh.
anyway. Family show. Okay, so let's do the thing, right?
Smells good. Yeah, you got to smell it first.
Okay, it smells.
It doesn't smell like any X's.
I'm picking up hints of beer.
Yeah. I smell beer.
Yeah, notes.
I smell some
I
blonde.
call it more notes.
Notes
beer.
of blondes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notes of 4 non-blondes.
4
actually.
non-blondes are in here,
yeah. They said, "Hey," and I'm really confused about it. I don't know what's going on.
Right, that's what they said. So, all right,
All right,
ready?
let's give
Cheers.
it a sipper.
Yeah.
Cheers to all of us.
Yes.
Well, that's that's really
Thanks,
nice,
Adam.
actually. Yeah. that is
No,
nice.
that's very good
So
beer.
that's the
Yeah.
pale ale.
No, that's the blonde.
The blonde. That's right. We just said we had a whole bit about blondes.
Yes, the whole thing about.
I brought in 4 non-blondes.
Oh.
I sang
You
a
know
little
what? I
bit.
think I popped open the pale. Did you pop open the
Bless
blonde?
it. Yes. That's the one. No, I opened the pale ale. That's when you told me to
Oh,
open.
okay, good. We did open the pails.
Yes,
Okay,
that's what you
perfect.
told. Didn't we?
Yes, I don't know. I'm getting old.
Oh, so it's not the blonde.
No, pale
Okay.
ale.
So that's
is
the
different.
pale ale
Yes.
we're drinking, and
We're drinking the pale.
we're doing
ale.
great. We're one
Pale
sip
ale is
in.
a golden to amber color beer style.
Look at it. It's
brewed
golden. I
with
would call this
pale
golden
malt.
to amber.
I would call this gold. The term first appeared in England around 1703 for beers made from malts dried with, and then it stops. I'll never know what the rest. Wikipedia just stopped.
It's just done. It's just decided you were done.
It decided that that's it. Yeah. So there we go. So it is golden to amber color.
It's nice. I'm not
It's nice.
I'm not a big beer drinker. I like beer, but like this is something that like I'm surprised even I've drank this much of already. I'm a slow beer drinker, but
Right.
this is not like hitting my stomach like a lot of beers do.
No, that's what a pale ale is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a nice,
A good
light,
like-
a good. You can drink a bunch of them. Like what? I don't want to compare a pale ale to like a Budweiser
But yeah, it's
because a
drinkable.
Budweiser is a washed out beer. But
Right.
yes, it's a drinkable beer that you should be able to have a lot of and enjoy them all day long. So yes.
You know, I remember distinctly being in college, and I'd be like at a party, and like, you know, music majors, they do weird stuff at parties. But like, I'd have a buddy who's like, "Oh yeah, I've had 16 beers," and like that's a lot of beers,
Right.
But I don't think I could drink 16 of any
No.
beverage.
Now.
Like, give me
Yes.
16 bottles of water over like a 5-hour like I think I would get sick just on water. So I'm like,
Yeah.
how do people pound? Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Especially beer. It sits in your stomach like
it does. Like
Oh, you know, part of the problem is I can't make myself burp. I don't know how to make myself
Oh.
burp. So I think that's part of the reason why I've had trouble with beer my whole life is because I
because
can't.
you get the gas bubbles and you can't
Yeah.
get them out.
hmm
There you go.
And I've tried. Everyone's like, "Oh, just swallow air." I'm like, "Shut up."
Shut up.
I've tried that. It doesn't work.
Oh, that's something new. I'll try that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last 17 people that I told
Yeah.
told me to
You're
do
gonna
that.
crack. I'm 36 years old. You're gonna crack it right here.
That's my favorite thing now when somebody has like a name that sounds like something else and I'm like, "Oh, I bet you never heard that one before."
yeah.
They're like, "Yeah,
Only
I never.
every day of my life.
Everybody who's met me has said the same thing to me.
Well, so I'm gonna need a second before I can drink enough of this to actually get onto the blonde, because this is
Right.
the pale ale. But I would definitely rank this pale ale on the higher end of good on our
Yeah.
whatever the hell our
Right.
good rankings. Is it Yoda and Leia and Chewie, right? Those are the good ones.
Yoda's the highest, Leia, and then Chewie is the third. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna be a great judge on this because I don't think I've ever had a beer and gone, this is delicious. But it's a good solid beer. So my guess is that if someone who likes beers.
Nope, this is pale.
That someone who likes beers and who knows what the hell they're talking about with a pale ale, I would guess they would like this since I do.
Yeah, I like it too. I would put it up there in a Leia category.
Now, which Leia?
I might even go
Like Obi-Wan Kenobi Leia, like running around, like giving an old Jedi sass sort of level Leia.
Oh, like child?
Yeah.
Sassy, that's one?
Yeah.
Is she at the low end or the high end of the Leias? I don't know.
I don't think it ever matters anymore.
It never matters anymore.
Welcome to Whose Line Is Anywhere, where the points are made up and nothing matters.
That's right. Let's do that. Let's say that it's a sassy, young Leia who's yelling at Obi-Wan Kenobi the whole time.
I love it.
Trying to play with her robot toy and just be sassiness. Yes,
I like it.
I like it. It is a very sassy beer.
This is the sassiest of the beers we've tried so far from him.
I do like it.
And
It's
it
very
is the
good. It's a
only
very
one.
nice pale ale. You get some flavors of beer, but it's not overpowering.
Yeah.
It's not there's like an IPA is going to hit you with a bunch of hops. This is the same brew recipe, but with a lot less hops included into it. So then you don't get as much of that piney, hoppy flavor.
Yeah, from the limited amount I know about beer culture in the last 20 years is that like it's become a big fashion in the beer industry just to throw hops at things.
They've started to get away from that now.
I did hear that is going away,
Yeah.
but like at a certain point it was just like, hey,
it was
more
how
hops.
hoppy can we make it? They were making IPAs which have a lot more hops, which increases the ABV, the alcohol level. Then they were getting double IPAs, and then some people were trying triple IPAs. Just there's different times in the brew cycle that you can add more hops to it to give it even more, to get the little what are they called? The little animals that eat and poop and
yeast.
Yes, the little yeasty guys. Get them going again and again and again, and you can keep adding hops later on and dry hopping and this and that and whatever. But now, thank goodness, they've gotten away from that, and they're now starting to go back into more beers that are like session beers, they call them, that you can just enjoy over a long period of time. You can have 4 or 5 of them, where if you had 4 triple IPAs, you're not even walking. Yeah. So I am happy about that. I do like an IPA.
Sure.
But we went
you like any double IPAs?
I can go for a double IPA. Triple IPAs start to just get too. We were in Dogfish Head in Delaware, and there was one in there. I swear it just tasted like gasoline.
Yeah.
And the waitress was like, "No, people love this." We were all
Show me those people.
Show me those people that love it. We were all like. like
in a cartoon after fire breathes out of your mouth.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. It was so ridiculous. We were like, there's nobody that actually enjoys this. They just want to either get drunk or B, prove that they had this.
It's a status thing.
Yeah, it's a status thing, exactly. Yeah. So this pale ale, very nice add-on. That's a good start, and neither of us are dead yet. So thank you very much for sending us beer that is not laced with something,
or
else
being gracious enough to give us a slow acting poison that we could get through the show before
we
it
get
starts.
through the show. We just won't wake up in the morning. Thank you very much for that.
I got a lot of stuff to do tomorrow, so you know what? Not waking up.
Yeah, it's all right.
Anyway.
So that's that. So Adam, thank you very much for sending us these beers.
Yeah, when we crack open that blonde, we'll
report back on that next in a little bit.
Yeah. So I do have some fact checks.
Okay.
From our fact checker.
For our fact checker. Yeah, okay, good.
For our last show. All right. So,
we need theme song for the fact checker.
Fact checker, it's Doug. He fact checks us, fact checker, because we don't do our homework. Anyway, other than Crosshair, the rest of the Bad Batch doesn't have chips. I guess at some point. Oh, that was 2 weeks ago. Oh, no. Okay, so this is one. It says, I think you may have misremembered a major plot point for Episode 5. It's not that Omega has an inherently high M count. The stuff they drop into the blood samples adds M, and she's the only one that's been able to retain the artificially enhanced M count, especially why Omega doesn't have force powers but is still relevant to the plot, which may be the case, but after today's two episodes may not still. I don't know, because she may, because it does seem like she does have a high M
count. Yes.
Yeah. So
because wait, reread that again, because I do remember them saying
it's not that Omega has an inherently high M count. The stuff they add into the blood samples adds M, and she's the only one that's been able to retain.
Okay, so she's been able to retain the M counts without that added blood additive, whatever they were putting in. With other people, it was not staying.
Right, and I'm sure the big part of this is just about, like, you know, how do we get the Emperor cloned, and, you know, how do we retain force abilities in that. So that's probably what I want her. But I do think the M count itself probably does matter now. Again, maybe after this one, because
after
they were a little
review,
coy at the end, and they were like, oh, no, she does, but, like, she does.
Right. Well, you know, and there's a reason that Ventress, we'll talk about that also. I don't want to
Rob doesn't like to jump around. No, he's a very linear guy.
I did a whole thing, and I don't want to do it now. I did a whole research stuff on Ventress and stuff, and I don't want to.
So you read some Dark Disciple stuff.
Well, did you read that book?
I haven't yet.
Okay, neither have I. I think
I want to.
We should start a book club and all read it together.
I agree.
Yes. All right.
I have started reading. So I started some High Republic stuff since I have some credits on Spotify.
Okay.
Have you read any of them?
No. No.
So Light of the Jedi is the one I'm on right now. It's the first High Republic book I've read, and I like it a lot so far. It's essentially, I think it's like 150 or so years before the Skywalker saga.
Okay.
And so, like, the whole deal with the High Republic is that it's like the pinnacle of society in both the Jedi and the Republic.
Yeah.
Everything is like at its most peaceful, its most prosperous. Like architecture and stuff is lavish and overdone simply for the fact that they can.
They have that ability.
Like
at this
lightsaber
point.
hilts, like we're gonna see in the Acolyte. Lightsaber hilts are like more ornate, and like some of them have cross guards and stuff because they could.
Right.
And, like they were part of like the aesthetic and the art and stuff.
Okay.
So it's really interesting to see, like, you know, the hubris of the Jedi. Like, you know, the Jedi are still the Jedi, and they're like, you get in their heads and they're doing the Jedi thing, but you see like all the status symbols and stuff. It reminds me of like a allegory almost of the Catholic Church, sort of like when you go into this church and it's like gold, you know, boxes for the poor and stuff.
Gold boxes for the poor.
But
put your money in this gold box. We'll give it to the poor.
For real.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's like, it was just really, and I won't give too much away, but it's a really interesting story. They mention like Yoda in it a couple times because he's a Jedi master on the council at this point.
Sure. I mean, it's only 150 years ago, and 900 years you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's very, very good. So I will, you know, I'll report back when I'm done with it. But yeah, check out some High Republic stuff.
Okay.
It doesn't seem, it's not very kiddie like that. I have a problem with a lot of Star Wars books. They feel like they're directed too young, but like some of the stuff, it gets pretty dark and gritty.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we may find out in the rundown that, you know, their end count may be more important than it was.
You'll just have to
according
wait
to
and see.
what Doug's yelling at us about. Doug.
I don't think he was yelling.
I know.
I think he was reprimanding.
Reprimanding.
I don't think he's mad. I think he's disappointed.
I was going to say, did he use that parent line? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Yeah.
It's a solid line.
It is a solid line. You're going to use that on your daughter a lot.
I use it on my students all the time.
I do it too.
I'm using it right now. I'm looking at you.
You are looking at you. I'm looking at you, students. Yeah. Not mad.
I'm
just
disappointed.
All right. So do you want to hit some Star Wars news? I have just a couple little things that are pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to hit it because it's never done anything wrong to me, but maybe we can talk about it a little bit.
We'll talk about it a little bit. Let's see if we get some Star Wars news in here.
Star Wars news.
Blop.
One thing that is very exciting.
You sound excited. It's exciting.
It is very exciting. Blue milk is coming.
Oh, really?
Yep. An iconic Star Wars treat is coming to stores nationwide.
Okay.
Star Wars fans rejoice.
I'm honestly amazed it took this long.
Yeah, me too. There's no need to travel to Tatooine to get a hold of a glass of blue milk in time for May the 4th. Starting on April 17th, the iconic beverage will be available for the first time in grocery stores across the country.
All right.
Star Wars True Moo Blue
True
Milk.
Moo. I
True
love it.
Moo Blue Milk is part of Lucasfilm's Imperial March. Oh, speaking of that, I have another thing.
Ready.
A celebration of all things Star Wars in the weeks leading up to May the 4th, the date which became unofficially Star Wars Day. The consumable product campaign kicked off with an impressive light showcase. Okay, so, yes, so the True Moo beverage is described as a vanilla-flavored milk tinted with blue food coloring.
I don't want vanilla milk. That doesn't sound good to me.
I don't like milk, period. I don't mind, like, I'm not going to pour a glass of milk, ever.
Okay.
Ever at all. Even vanilla milk, I'm not going to do that. Now, I have tried vanilla milk,
Okay.
and I don't mind it as much because it does taste more vanilla-y, obviously,
Sure.
than just dirty water, which is what regular milk tastes like to me, which is why I don't drink it. I drink it in cereal. I'll have
Okay.
cereal with
Interesting.
milk, but I won't pour a glass of milk and just have some.
So here's some fun for you. I don't eat any cereal with milk.
Okay,
Always dry.
only dry.
Yeah. But growing up, I loved milk on its own. I would eat Cheerios and then drink milk afterwards.
Okay.
Weird thing. I don't drink milk now. I used to drink it like I would literally, and this is 0% exaggeration. I would go to like a Fridays and I'd get their brownie obsession because that was the stuff to get.
Okay.
And my line to the server was always the same, and it was exactly these words. It was, if you could get me the biggest receptacle of milk you have back there, if you have a bucket
A 5-gallon bucket.
that you could put the milk in, and you could bring that to me, that'd
If
be
you
great.
bring me that much milk, I'll be very happy.
And so yeah, but that's
So what was the biggest you ever got? Just like a glass?
I got some pretty big glasses. Every now
Okay.
and then I'd get just a regular glass, and I'm like, did you not understand
Did
this?
you not understand?
Was I not
I
clear
want
about the
more
bucket
than
of
the
milk?
12 ounces.
Maybe
I
bring me
want
4 of these.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
want 20, 30
Yeah,
ounces
and
of
then
milk.
it was
here.
the weirdest thing. I could never understand it, and to this day, it still baffles me. I would get these weird stomach aches afterwards. It's strange.
So it is strange. I think when you drink 40 ounces of milk, that'll do that to you. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we have milk in the house now, essentially for our daughter. And that's about it.
Okay. Yeah. So Trey still will drink milk, like milk, and but me
But
never.
not blue milk.
Not
yet.
blue milk. So I enjoyed the blue milk at Galaxy's Edge.
I had some students come back from senior trip saying they had tried it and liked it.
Yes, it didn't taste like milk. It wasn't milk at all. It was like a coconut drink or something like that. It was very delicious. I enjoyed it. I was very happy.
Was
And
it the consistency of milk?
It was almost like a frosty, or
Okay.
not like an icy, like slushy. Like there was a lot of like frozen crystals.
It
in
wasn't
there.
a thick, white, viscous liquid.
No.
Okay.
Because I was listening to DL Weekly this week, and they were talking about this as well on there, and they were saying, yeah, nobody wants to walk around 110-degree Florida
Drinking milk.
drinking milk.
Milk was a bad choice.
Milk was, oh god. So yeah, so that's why they made this other flavor there. So it's like a coconut drink. It was good. It's like a Fat Tuesdays type type of drink. Yeah, so it's good. And they have a blue one and a green one.
Okay.
We had both before. I like the blue
Well, the
one
green
better.
one is like the Octo Walrus thing, right?
Yeah.
Let Luke drink the milk from.
Yeah. What the other creatures that he was, the ones that were
Milking.
sitting back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
so,
necessary.
So I like the blue one better. The green one, I want to say it was minty, but I don't remember officially if it was minty or not.
I'm
But
just now realizing that manatee with his nipples out got just the same amount of screen time in that movie that Luke got in the previous movie.
true story. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sad.
And that manatee, you can see him at Philly Expo.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's signing autographs.
I bet. I'm the guy who voiced him. I'm the guy who is animatronic.
So so coming soon, you can get True Moo is the manufacturer of blue milk.
Is it made by Fairlife? I won't eat it if it's made by Fairlife.
It's not made by Fairlife. So it'll be interesting to see how they're saying nationwide, but it will be interesting to see if it actually shows up in
our local
grocery store. Yeah, there was a couple people a year and a half ago, I guess, maybe even 2 years ago, that they in their Walmart had baby Grogu cereal, and it was
Okay.
kind of like Cheerios, but the shapes were like Grogu's head, like Yoda had with like the
Sure.
big ears and stuff like that. I couldn't find it around here at all. And
Oh.
the people who I was friends with, it was like middle of Pennsylvania, and they had it there, but they didn't have it over here.
Went
in,
as far as Giant.
it
That's where
did.
it
It
stopped.
stopped it there. Another thing that's really cool right now, and Trey was just there and didn't see it, the rotten son that he is. In New York City, the Empire State Building. Ever hear of it?
Oh yeah, it was lit up, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
So it's going to be lit up all the way through to, I think, the very beginning of June.
Okay.
EMPIRE State.
That's how you spell it.
That is building.com,
.com.
Empire State Building, Star Wars. But they did like 6 or 7 different designs on the outside of it with the lights and stuff. And there's a thing.
How much do you think Disney paid for that?
Sure. Disney and Lucasfilm banded together for a Star Wars takeover of the world-famous Empire State Building on March 21st. An unveiling of the franchise's villains began that morning with a celebrity visit from Star Wars actor Hayden Christensen, an unveiling of the Vader-themed Fifth Avenue lobby windows, the debut of the display of the Funko Pop, and Lego throughout the observatory experience, an immersive fan experience by Hasbro and Amazon. The festival's culminated with a dynamic Star Wars light show.
Sounds like a lot of stuff to be happening for is there like an announcement coming up, or are they like, I mean the Acolyte's coming out, but like
the Acolyte,
why are they doing this PR blitz?
They're leading up to Star Wars Con, and also
But this is like the Empire State Building is like
it's
that's,
huge. Yeah,
like,
and this is they had a big, or they're having a big party there as well. It's like $160 a person. You can watch, I think it's Return of the Jedi, and they have both the 50th and the 100-something floors open for you, and free food and beer all night, or free food and drinks.
Well, it's $160.
$160, yeah. So
open bar, let's
open
say.
bar. There we go. Yeah. So they're doing that. I don't know why suddenly they're doing this, other than it's just leading up to May the 4th. It's
We have one of these every year.
Yeah.
So, and like it's 2024. If you were like 2027, it was like this many years since Star Wars came out, that'd be something too. But like, I don't know. It seems to me like maybe, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe there's something coming down the pike. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. But Empire Strikes Back will play on the 80th floor on March 22nd. We missed that. Darn it. Movie ticket holders will also receive complimentary drinks and snacks to enjoy with the movie, and access to the 86th and 102nd observatories. So if you were there, you would have been able to... Oh, there we go. On April 29th, Dairy Farmers of America and their flavored milk brand True Moo brought us samples of their new blue milk for observatory guests.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. Trey was just in New York City this past weekend. I told him to go take pictures of it, and he said, I'm nowhere near it. He was at Madison Square Garden, which is literally 3 blocks away from it, and he would not walk over to take pictures.
Does he know that for years you have worked and toiled to put clothes on his back, food on
in
his
his mouth.
table, to
And keep him
give him
dry.
an education,
Yep,
to drive him places,
Mhm.
and he this betrayal.
Betrayal.
I
Utter
don't know, man.
betrayal.
I gotta really prepare. Like I don't think I was ready for that sort of
I know.
betrayal in parenting.
Yes. Well, that's what you got to look forward to.
I do, I guess.
The trailer came out. Do you want to watch it real fast?
The Acolyte trailer came out. If you want, sure.
All right, let's do this, and then we can talk. We'll go to a commercial break, and then we will talk all about all that other stuff. Let me see. I'll even show it to the fans, hopefully. Share a screen. Share a screen. Share a screen. I'm going to play this.
Ooh.
Close your eyes.
You gotta make it maximize it. We see all the sides.
Your eyes
Here we go.
can deceive you. We must not trust them. Tell me what comes into your mind.
Life,
Trinity.
Trinity, yeah.
balance.
I like this at Kids
I
Enter.
see fire.
I see fire.
I see London. I see France.
I see Trinity. This June.
Someone is killing Jedi. It doesn't make sense.
Yellow lightsaber.
What happened?
I sensed darkness. This isn't about good or bad.
Or broken
This
ships.
is about power and who is allowed to use it.
Who's that?
What is that?
This is a cold scene. All the lightsabers. June 4th.
Yeah, and the advertisements for are pretty brutal. Like there's one ad that's like a lightsaber hilt, and the blade is just blood splattered on the ground.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
It looks really cool.
So there's been a lot of kind of thoughts about this already.
Did you see Luke Skywalker? I saw him.
Oh yeah, 3 times.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and C3PO was in there. Yeah. You might not have recognized him because of his arm.
Right.
But no. So this is all during the High Republic, so it's right around the same time period as I was talking about earlier, and that like the Wookiee we see is actually a Jedi.
Yes.
He's in the book that I'm working on right now, and so yeah, it looks really rad. There's like thought that the girl in the beginning who says fire is the same as the assassin girl later on.
Okay.
And that's like a flashback.
Okay.
Because if you read the like entries on StarWars.com about all these new characters, it says something about her having been like a student of him.
Okay.
And stuff. So, but yeah, I'm really intrigued how they do it because like, you know, by the time Yoda and Mace Windu and all them are around, they're like, yeah, the Sith have not been around for 1,000 years. And my guess is that this person who just destroys them is probably Sith. Because
right,
like,
and you see the red lightsaber, which is the telltale sign of Sith.
And the fact that whoever this person is, just like destroys 12 Jedi like that. I mean, obviously we don't see, but it looks like they're really leaning into, and I hope they really lean into, like, you know, there's dark side users and then there's Sith.
Right.
You know, they've been, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they work them in without having them like, oh, the Sith are back, right? They can't do that. Right?
Yeah.
It has to be that they say remain secretive. So
right.
It looks awesome.
It does look awesome. I'm very excited about it. And like
all
you
the
said,
action sequences look like really good choreography.
Yeah. Looks really cool, especially, you know, what we've said before, what, you know, the general population wants in a Star Wars, general population reporting for duty, sir. What they want in a Star Wars movie is Jedi and lightsabers. Yep. So this is going to give you a lot of that.
Yeah, sure is.
It sure is. We're going to get a lot of Jedi, a lot of lightsabers.
Yeah, and Trinity with a lightsaber.
And Trinity,
who was essentially a Jedi to begin with, right?
She was. I mean, she could bend the Force, you know, with her. So as she's like in the one scene, she uses the Force to push the other person back, and I'm like, oh, could she do that? And yeah, she could do that before. Yeah.
It's essentially just, I hope they essentially just call her Master Trinity.
That would be awesome. Or however you say Trinity backwards.
Yeah,
that would be even
I'm
better.
not going to even attempt it.
No, but yeah, so that would be pretty cool. So June 4th, very exciting. That is coming out, and we're going to have more Star Wars. And now the other article that's been circulating a lot, and I've just been reading the headlines because I don't want to clickbait anything, but they're all saying that the Mandalorian movie is now maybe not going to replace season 4, but just be an intro into season 4.
Interesting.
Which I would prefer, I think, because you know, a movie you get 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, and
it's The Mandalorian, so it'll probably be like 37 minutes.
37 minutes, yeah.
Still a movie.
Shorter. Well, it had 90 minutes, so it'll be 87 minutes, and then 21 minutes of closing credits.
That's right.
Yeah. Just like the worst movie of all time. I used to tell the kids when we used to make a movie database was Dude, Where's My Car? Because it was literally 86 minutes long, and that was including closing credits and everything.
That's amazing.
I'm like, I can't believe you paid the same price to see that as you did to see
Titanic.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do this for you. Blow away. All right, and so yeah, so it'll be interesting if that is in fact the case, that it's a lead in to another season, because movies are great. I love the movies. I'm actually becoming more accustomed to Star Wars TV shows than the movies. Now, I will say I do love going and seeing it on the big screen and seeing giant, amazing lightsaber battles and all that stuff on the big screen. So I'm not going to...
But that's like if they're gonna make it a movie, they need to make it worth being a movie. Like the stakes have to be bigger.
Yeah.
Like the payoff has to be worth getting out of your house and paying $40 to go to the damn movie theater anymore.
Yeah.
So like I really hope it's not just like another.
It's just a long episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, they did not use the volume at all for the Acolyte.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I read somewhere that they didn't use it at all.
Okay, good. So
it's all on location filming.
Excellent.
Like
so they're not going to be all stuck in a 30 by 30 area,
right?
Which is very good.
Yeah.
So
maybe they're learning.
Yeah.
They're going to be using.
I mean, the volume is good for what it is. It's very good.
Yep.
But if you can do it out in the woods instead of making woods inside a soundstage, people will love it so much more.
Oh yeah.
So, all right, let's do a commercial break, and then we'll come back, and we'll talk all about the Bad Batch.
Let's do
that. And we're back. Buy that.
No, we're not back. No, check again.
Check again.
Let's double check. You know what? You're right. We're back.
We're back. And what is this? This is now? Is this now?
We're in now.
We're now.
When will then be now?
Soon.
How soon?
We are recording this.
It is April 1st.
It is April
that's right. How many
Day,
years ago was that when we did that one?
That was an awesome one. That was
like 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was a really good one. All right, so the Bad Batch. We have 2 episodes that we need to talk to you all about. Episode 8, Bad Territory, and Episode 9, Harbinger.
The Harbinger.
All right, so let's start with Episode 8. What did you think? This was a good lead up to 9.
Right.
I felt when I first watched it, I was like, whatever. And then I just rewatched it again after watching Episode 9, and it had a little bit more.
Is this the one with the alligator?
This was the one with the alligator. Yeah, so. This is with Fennec Shand.
Yes, Fennec. That's right. That's right. Because they needed to get the information.
Right.
And then she's like, "Oh, I'll get it to you," but it's like, actually, I'll lead her to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the whole one. Wait. Our version 1 minute of what happened in the episode was. We need to find out what M counts are. Okay, go find this person. That's Fennec Shand. Hi, tell me what M counts are. No, but you can do this job for me. After you do this job for me, then I will set you up with somebody else who will do this job for you. Roll credits.
Boom.
There we go. So that was the whole thing. But it was good. Like Fennec it was fun seeing her in the cartoon again. They made her look just like she does in
live action.
In live action.
Actress, yep. I'd imagine they brought the actress back.
It was her. Yeah, it was her voicing it as well.
No, it's cool to see it kind of come back and like see her towards the end of the show when we saw her towards the beginning of the show and having her revisit the characters. It was cool seeing her talk to the clones about the first time. Like, didn't she mentioned something about how she talked to them about that she let her go because the bounty was released or whatever.
Yeah. She said, they said, oh yeah, well she got away from me the first time, and she said, well, apparently, she got away from you also.
Right.
But yeah, so here's the whole thing, right? Crosshairs and Omega are talking about how she's the reason so many people just died because they just had this big battle, and Omega was very sad. Omega is like. She's the heart and the soul of the show, of the group.
Because she's a girl.
She cares where the boys are just whatever. Then they get a call from V about the M counts. And
that's Wanda Sykes, right?
Yeah, Wanda Sykes' character. And I wrote down, I like how Crosshairs is confused about everything because the entire season 2, he was, playing with the Empire instead. So he's like, "Who's this? Why are you talking to her? What are you
Yep.
telling her? What's this?" So the whole episode, and Omega does at one point say, "Yeah, you missed a lot.
Yeah. We'll catch you up.
We'll catch up." Yeah. So Crosshairs is having a problem with the shooting hand, a twitching problem with the
Right.
shooting hand. Everyone wants to protect Omega when Hunter tells them to get Crosshairs to. Oh yeah, so they all go. V tells them to go find Fennec. And then Hunter tells her that she's not allowed to go because, she's valuable, whatever.
Daddy.
The overprotective daddy, yeah. And then he tells her to get Crosshairs to look at his hand. So he knows that Crosshairs won't do anything if Hunter tells him or
Right.
Wrecker, but if Omega tells him, then maybe he'll get it looked at.
Yeah, I did. I did take note of that specific line because, like, it almost changed. Like, the trope would be like, oh, this guy's hand is, he's hiding his hand. Oh, his hand is messed up, and that's gonna really come back to bite him. But like, and he's not gonna tell anyone. It's gonna be a big secret. But like, they specifically said like, no, we know about it. Go get that figured out.
Go get it fixed. Yeah.
So it's almost like they knew that that's where we thought it was gonna go, and they said no.
No,
this
we're
is
gonna do a
different thing.
180
Yeah.
on you. Yeah.
It was interesting.
It was very interesting. So then Hunter Wrecker go to a new planet. It's like a shady place, but shiny also. There's a lot of neon lights all over the place and stuff. And they go into a bar and they find... Oh, this is what I was... when they walk into the bar, the two... not pedestrians, patrons are fighting over a bottle of whatever.
Yep.
And the one just pulls out a gun and shoots the other one. And nobody said a word.
Star Wars, man.
Like
The wild freaking West.
it is the Wild West. It's crazy because you think about, and they talk about it a little bit about later on with Ventress. They talk about how she was so bad, she has so many war crimes against her. What about this just generic crime right here of murder?
Apparently wasn't that big a deal.
Wasn't
at
that big a
time,
deal?
yeah.
Nobody liked Billy anyway, so who cares? We
Yep.
won't tell anybody. But I was just like, okay. And then they go over, they find Fennec, and they invite themselves to a meeting she's having with what species is Greedo?
Oh, yeah, Tidorian.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're like, get out, and she's like, no, stay. And then she's like,
Oh no, not Greedo's not. It's a
the green guy. There.
yeah. That's gonna annoy me. Go ahead.
Anyway, so they kick him out, and then they have a deal to find out about M counts. She knows someone who did an M count job. She never picked any up, but she offers them a deal to do a job for her, and then she will give them the name of the person who did.
Rodian.
Rodians,
God, that was gonna
yes.
annoy me.
And then she will give them the name of a person who did an M count mission, so then they can talk to that person. So, and then from there we cut back to Crosshairs, and he's getting his hand checked out right away. Like, it wasn't. I was waiting for this whole like, I'm fine, like whatever. But the very next scene, he's got her little robot
Go
doctor
into the
droid.
doctor
Yeah,
room. The doctor said, "No more crosshairs shooting." No,
it's something very close. But then the doctor says everything's fine. It's a mental issue.
Yeah.
He's like, you're saying it's in my head.
You saying I'm crazy, Mike?
You're saying I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm
You're
Australian.
crazy. You're a droid.
You're a droid, not me.
This whole system's a droid. He got angry.
He did. I'm not crazy. You're crazy. And then he left.
Yeah.
And then Batcher
And
went
then the
with
droid
him.
was just like, "Listen, man, I was just trying to do my job. I feel really bad." And she was like, "No, don't worry about it. He just gets like that." And then
This
the droid,
is just the way he is.
The droid just goes home and he tells his droid wife, like, had a really hard
Had a
day.
really rough day
This
today.
patient just went nuts, and I'm trying to do my job. And he felt bad.
He did.
It affected him.
It affected the droid a lot. He was not able to power down all night.
No.
He
And
He kept thinking about it.
He holds
the whole
on to
night.
these things.
He
gnaws
does.
on them like a bone.
He's a very emotional droid. Yes.
Eric the droid.
Eric the droid.
Next. That's the new Star Wars soap opera coming.
Eric the droid.
Honey,
Honey.
I did my best.
Your best wasn't good enough. If you were you would be a good doctor if you could have fixed them.
This is good beer.
This is good beer. So then we go back to Fennec. Siler Ceres is the guy that they're tracking, and he's one of those giant bug creatures that we saw in episode 2, maybe, of the movies.
Oh, Genosian.
Yeah, and they're like, whatever. During this, what did I say? Back to Fennec. Helmets. Oh, she was like, put your mask on because this air will kill you.
Right.
So they put their helmets on, which I found she had a mask underneath her. So I guess her front shield there is just a shield. It's not a mask like the. And then this also made me laugh. This is me being very, very, very picky. When she first put the mask on, she's like, "Put your mask on," and it sounded like she was, talking behind something. And then the next scene when she's talking to the pit droid, she's back to normal again. And then the pit droids they're cracking me up because they're just so nervous and they're just so like weird. I love pit droids. I want my own.
We can make that happen.
We could make that happen.
If anyone could make it happen, I think you could.
Yes.
Tinker upstairs.
I could tinker something up. Yeah. So then they get into the boat, and I thought I was done my pale ale, but I'm not because I want to open up this blonde next.
Yeah, I do too. But God, there's so much beer.
16 beers, man. I had 16 beers.
I'm halfway through a beer. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much liquid in my belly.
Well, we can save the pale ale for next time.
You drink
or the
whatever
blonde.
you want.
Yeah.
Man. I'm slow. That's all.
So they're driving an airboat from Florida.
Yep.
Pretty much
Big
it was
old
an
fan
airboat.
boat.
Did you ride a fan boat?
Driving
Yeah.
through the bayou.
So when you were in Louisiana, did you ever go out on a fan boat?
I really wanted to.
You were there for so long.
3 years.
Couldn't find
3 years.
Couldn't find one Saturday afternoon in 3 years to go out on a fan boat. No,
I did every other touristy thing that you could do in Louisiana except I did on many occasions mention that I wanted to go on a fan boat tour, and I never did.
All right, well I know what we have to do now.
Bantha Milk fan boat tour.
Bantha Milk
we're,
fan
We're
boat.
gonna do a live stream from the bayou.
Oh yeah, because if you ever watch the people in the fan boats, they have like sound deadening headphones. We're gonna be like, we're on a fan boat now. It's not gonna be able to hear
we got
anything.
one of these beers with us.
Yeah, spilling all over the place.
Rob's trying to get the hand right on the beer.
So then they get it, halfway down the river, and then they find some mines in the river. And now we also find out that the helmets are waterproof.
Yeah.
And I was waiting to see if they were gonna like every time they popped up because they jumped up like pretty quickly, like if they were like gasping for air, but it must have some kind of ventilation system in there also for a little while. Waterproof and air purifiers in them, and so they needed to cut all the mines while they were there. So Fennec was like, I'm not getting in that water, you get in that water. And then that's when we go back to Crosshairs. She's very empathetic. She's like talking to him, and this is where I was like, I wrote down that she's the soul of the show because she's like talking Crosshairs out of being angry,
right,
and being like, look, I have something for you, don't worry, I'll hook you up. And then we go back to the Crocs are now coming, and it's a crocodile. Crikey, it's a crocodile. So they looked, we didn't really see them very well, but they just basically look like fatter versions of crocodiles.
Yeah.
The one thing that I did like, which I thought was funny, was when Wrecker threw the one up and over and hit the other one, there was like a dog whimper. It was like, "Nipe."
I love that. I must have missed that.
It was pretty funny.
They're reptiles, but they sound like dogs.
They sound like dogs, yeah. And then it cracked me up once they fought off all the reptiles and got into the boat. Then they were like going for a long time after that. So me personally, I would have set up booby traps like closer to my hideout so that I knew somebody was coming. But this was like a 2-hour boat ride after that. So I was like, okay, whatever. So then they get to the hideout and big fight, and then they finally catch him. That's what I wrote down. It was a good fight. Did you? Yeah.
I have a problem with fights in the animated shows unless they're done really well. And the fight in the next show, in the next episode, is done so well. But like, it's clear that they like fights like that when they're like, okay, this is gonna be a big fight. Let's and then like other fights are just kind of like, it looks fine, but like it's just kind of like I don't know. Star Wars' big thing in the animated series, I feel like when in doubt, throw a kaiju at them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what do we do? Big alligator, giant turtle octopus.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Because it was funny. Like he like spit the thing like a raptor or whatever the dinosaur was in Jurassic Park. That's
who ate Newman.
Who ate Newman? Yeah. Who spit the thing on Newman's face first? Oh, you're just a cute little fella. Yeah. Newman. So he spit on Wrecker's face, and then luckily I was like, oh my gosh, like he was like dodging the blade a lot, but then he was able to wipe it off, and I was like, okay, now we can see again. And then they fought. They brought him. He went underground, and then somehow they found him right outside. He was still just hiding there. Oh, that's right, because he went onto the boat, and Piers Fennec sabotaged the boat so that he couldn't get away. And then the three of them all hit him over and over again with stun blast, and then finally until they knocked him down. And then I was like, oh, so there's going to be more to this episode. No, that's pretty much it. So then, we go back to Crosshairs, and Omega's teaching him how to meditate. So that was fun to me, because this is like I said, it's the calming, soothing part of her. And you could tell, like, she was like touching his hand, and she was like, no, turn your palm over. Like, just relax. If you relax, calm down, let everything go, and then you'll feel a lot better about yourself. So that was fun. And that's when she said she was a Kashyyyk meditating. She's like, I learned this when I was playing or hanging out with my Wookiee friends or whatever.
Right.
And that's when she said you missed a lot. And he was like, I know.
You went to Kashyyyk?
You went to Kashyyyk? So then we go back to Fennec, and she tells them that she's going to get the information and leaves. And then she says, well, you can kill me or you can trust me.
Right.
And then they're like, okay.
And then the end of the episode, they tried really hard. I don't think it succeeded, but they tried really hard to make you think, ooh, Fennec's turning them in.
Right.
And
Is she talking to somebody in the Empire?
Ooh, here are their coordinates. It was very transparently not that.
No, not at all. And there's other people were even saying that she was talking to Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Because and I was like, why?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, because the book of Boba Fett, I can't even figure out the time frame. This is way before.
This is well before Book of
way
Boba
before
Fett,
she ran into Boba Fett. So why people would think that she would be talking to Boba Fett?
Right.
And I mean, knowing that Ventress was going to show up in this season because they had her in the opening trailer.
Right.
As soon as she was talking to somebody, I go, okay,
That's
this
Ventress.
This is Ventress.
We haven't
this
seen
is,
her yet. We know she's coming. That's got to be her.
That's got to be her. So why anybody was like speculating about anybody other than that?
Probably because I'd say like a good 96% of their audience doesn't have a podcast. And so I bet a lot of them, like many of them might have been surprised. You know,
okay.
It's possible that a lot of them are kids and like they don't look at the trailers.
Yeah,
it's possible. And they're like, oh my god, that chick, she was bald.
Yeah, and or
now she has a really cool emo haircut.
She's very emo now.
And when she swims, her hair looks radical.
Yeah, it's all just on top.
Yeah.
She's got it shaved everywhere else, but still on top. But
My wife
yeah,
had that haircut.
Is it just on top?
My wife had that haircut.
Oh, she had
Shaved
that
on the
haircut.
side,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now it's purple.
Yes.
So she was talking to somebody. Obviously, we had to wait a whole week to find out that it was Ventress, that we all knew. And I think other people, maybe they were just trying to throw out as many different names to hope that they were the one to crack it.
Right.
You know, oh no, it's Boba Fett. Oh no, it's Luke Skywalker. Oh no, it's whatever. Nope, it was none of them. It was Ventress.
It was Ventress.
And then that's where we lead into episode 9, called Harbinger, which is someone who brings bad news.
Yeah.
And it's Ventress. Yeah. She's the Harbinger.
That's aptly named.
Yes, very much so. So they're back on their island. Everybody's fitting in and making friends. When Batcher goes and runs over into a cave, which Omega says, we've been in there hundreds of times.
Puppy doesn't like a cave you've been in before. You don't go in that cave.
You don't go in that cave. If he's scared, then
if I was about to go to my backyard and Lester was like, I don't want to go back there, I'd be like, I don't want to.
I don't want to go back there either. Okay, we'll go out front. We'll go.
We're done out here.
We're done. We'll wait till there's a light out here. I can figure out what's out here that you're afraid of. But Ryan Arey broke down caves. He said caves are a series of trials in mythology and in Star Wars. Dagobah Luke went into cave in Dagobah. Rey had her cave moment. And Anakin in the original Clone Wars movie also had a cave moment as well. And this is where we meet Asajj Ventress. Batcher gets the boys. It reminded me of like a scene from Lassie.
Yeah.
Do you remember Lassie?
What's that?
What's
Little
that?
Timmy stuck in the well? Bring me. Yeah.
Bring me. Take me to Timmy. Let me get him out of that well.
Attaboy.
Good boy. So then it's
trying to tell me something.
We used to say that all the time to our dogs. We'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Timmy stuck in a well? So Asajj finds them, even though no one else knows where they are, which I did find interesting that she was able to crack them and find them as quickly as. But even at the end of the last episode, when she's talking to who we don't know who she's talking to, she's like, oh, you'll be able to find them. It's not that hard. So I don't know if Fennec also knew where they were or if She just knows that Asajj Ventress is going to be good enough to be able to find them.
Yeah, they left it pretty vague as to how she found them, and how she snuck a big ass ship like that into a cave without anyone knowing.
She flew in at nighttime, turning the lights off.
Yeah, it's like you pop it in neutral and you
Uh-huh.
roll into the driveway when
Yep.
you come in at 1 a.m.
Yep, and then climb in the window instead of the front door because Dad's sleeping on the sofa.
It's great on the motorcycle, man. You turn it in, you put it on neutral right when you turn into the street, man. You just coast down the street,
right down the hill.
silently.
Yep, it's awesome.
So anyway,
Yeah.
So what were we saying?
So Asajj was able to hide the spaceship
Yes,
inside the cave.
She hid the spaceship. She hung out in the dark, and then little Omega starts snooping around, and essentially she pulls her out by the ear and is like, "Stop snooping through my
Stop
stuff."
snooping. This is my stuff. Get away. So we keep throwing out this word, Asajj Ventress. So here's a deep dive about Asajj Ventress from Wikipedia. Asajj Ventress was a Force-sensitive Dathmorian female who was at various points throughout her life a Night Sister, a Jedi Padawan, an assassin of the Sith, a commander in the Confederacy of Independent Systems military, and a bounty hunter. In the final decades of the Galactic Republic's reign, Ventress was born into a clan of magic-wielding Night Sister witches led by Mother Talazin on the planet Dathomir. When she was only a baby, her coven was forced to surrender to the criminal Halstead. That's funny. Who spirited Ventress away from her sisters into the war-torn world of Rataka, where she was enslaved in his service.
Rakata's a type of cheese.
Ratataka.
Ratataka. I don't remember. It's a big one.
Yeah.
Thank goodness we check out these pronunciations beforehand.
I can't even pronounce my name. She was orphaned when her master was killed by Weequay pirates.
Rob, it's very simple. It's just one syllable each. Rob, Spear.
Oh.
Rob, Spear.
So
try it.
Boar? Nope.
We'll try again later.
Try again later. Okay. But was later discovered by Jedi Knight Kai Narek, who was stranded on Ratataka and waging a battle against the pirate marauders. Kai Narok raised Ventress and taught her to use the Force in the ways of Jedi Order, and together they protected the populace of Rataka and fought back against the predatory attacks of pirates and warlords. So she was trained how to use the Force by a Jedi Master, but not in the Jedi Temple.
Right.
So she wasn't officially trained by a true Jedi, but she was trained in the Force. Sounds very similar, but different to Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
She started, but when she decided that she didn't like what the Jedi Temple was doing, she left. And when we see her in her own series, she obviously has continued on her trainings. But so to me, I feel like she is the counterpoint to Ahsoka almost.
The yin to Ahsoka's
the yin
yang.
the yin to her yang. Because they were both trained Jedis, but not officially Jedis.
Yeah. And
but they were trained in the Force.
Maul also wanted Ahsoka to be her apprentice too,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there was some dark side
Yeah.
stuff happening. Yeah, I don't know. You're right. It is a pretty interesting juxtaposition between the two of them. And there's, you can get more of her story as well because she has.
What was that book you talked about?
Dark Disciple.
Dark Disciple. Yeah. So in Dark Disciple, apparently, is when she. Who was the Jedi?
Quinlan Vos.
Yeah, Quinlan Vos.
So Quinlan Vos is in the Clone Wars, and he was mentioned in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
He was, yes.
So presumably he's still around during the Obi-Wan series, which means he's still around during this. But in Dark Disciple, I mean, I think even before then they were like
dating or
boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the hell
whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
they were together, and he pulled her back from the dark side at some point,
and then he turned to the dark side,
and she pulled him back.
Yeah,
and then there's a whole book about, I think, him essentially being in the dark side, like
right,
her
and
apprentice,
she,
essentially.
and then everybody was upset that she was in this
because
episode because
she was supposed to have died.
she
in the
died
book.
in the book. Yes.
But they kind of addressed that in this
A
in
little
way,
bit,
because
yeah.
they like at the one point she says I've got
plenty of lives left.
a couple lives left or whatever, so that kind of hints to the fact that she might have died already, or like
Right, like she's
and at the end of that book apparently they brought her back to like Dathomir and like put her in some like holy water or something,
Right.
and like Dathomir is Night Sister territory.
yeah,
Like,
and
their thing is bringing people back from
Yeah.
the dead.
and in other Night Sister stories, as well as there was in Ahsoka with the Night Sisters as well. They've proven now that they're able to bring people back from the dead and stuff. So. And this is where everybody's starting to complain about Star Wars, and
'Cause-
Filoni's
yeah.
thinking of nobody's ever dead now,
yeah.
which is like,
What does it matter if
what
someone
does it
dies
matter?
if we can just
Yeah,
bring them
if we could
back?
just bring them
Yeah.
back later on, like, oh no, and especially like they were saying for Asajj Ventress, her death was very heroic. She like
It was poetic,
Very poetic,
given
yeah.
the way she died and the way she lived.
yeah, and it was like, okay, if somebody dies that way, you shouldn't like bring them back at that point. So
But I listened to something today that I actually kind of liked about it, because at the end of this episode, there's the scene where she calms down the squidopus.
yeah, yep, the kraken,
turtledopus.
the turtledopus, kraken,
Yeah.
snake, lizard.
So like
beast.
in the dark Acolyte or Disciple or whatever the hell, there is a scene apparently where she's training Quinlan Voss to like soothe this snake creature,
Okay,
and as she's soothing it, she see like it's all pissed off, and all of a sudden it gets calm, and as it's calm, she kills it.
okay,
So like in
Right.
it almost shows her growth in that.
Yeah.
Like we have this scene where she's like, I can handle this,
yeah.
and she does that same thing.
She calms it down, she
And
says-
then that's it.
and then,
like 'cause
yeah.
she clearly, like as she mentioned, like a connection to nature is a
Yeah.
way that people show, and she has this connection to nature clearly. And the whole episode was, I liked what they did with her, because it was clearly it's not like she became a Jedi all of a sudden and she was like, good is the way to go. You know what I mean? Like
right,
she
yeah.
was, she was like, the one who's like, I wasn't planning on killing you, but you're making it hard.
You're making
Yeah.
it very hard for me to not do it.
So it's like,
yeah,
we've been talking about, I think, for a couple months now on the podcast, where it's, they're leaning a little more into the gray area, where you can be a Jedi and
yeah.
not
You don't have to be
be a
the
saint
holy
or,
Jedi. Yeah, the saint Jedi. You can be Force sensitive and still see both sides of a story.
and it also it brings about like the theme of redemption that is big in Star Wars, but we don't usually see it played out.
Right.
Redemption stories in Star Wars are usually, hey, they're redeemed, and in one act they redeemed themselves and died.
Yeah,
As opposed to someone like Ventress, who has to live with what she has done
yeah,
and continually try to make amends for it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, it's not like, it's almost easier to like go out in one act of glory.
right.
You know what I mean? When it's like, oh, they did all that, and like,
Yeah,
on
like,
screen it plays a little easier too. Like there is stuff in the expanded universe about like, Leia coming to grips with the fact that Vader was her father, and like it wasn't just all of a sudden, oh, he's a good guy now.
yeah,
But for the character, almost, I think it's harder, because then it's one thing to like decide I'm gonna, it's all ending here, I'm gonna give it up, but like, to like, I'm gonna continue to live with my choices and
Right.
and change
change. Yeah,
That's
and
a
I'm
cooler
going to
story, I think.
I'm going to continue to live a better, and even like,
And that's
in
why I
this,
wish they had killed Rey instead of Kylo,
right.
because I think that would have been a better
It
story.
would have been a better story if Kylo was still
If
around, and then he
had
did go
to live with those choices.
yes, with the
and then
choices that he made.
He rebuilt the Jedi Order, as a fallen Jedi who
Yeah.
has seen the dark and the light.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Well, that's why we don't get to write the stories.
So,
yeah. All right. So, Dark Disciple, Ventress would not deliver an M count bounty. Oh, this is a good point also that somebody made. Ryan Airy made this. Ventress would not deliver an M count bounty because she too has a high M count, being a Jedi. So she would not want to be like, here's one, because then she knows that they would try and trap her and then
Sure.
use her as well. So
yeah, and she's not exactly unknown.
Right.
Asajj Ventress shows up, they're gonna know who she is.
Yeah.
And they'll probably like,
Yeah.
you just step right this way.
So she said it's something in the blood. This is when Omega says, "I'm a Jedi." So
Right.
Omega got real sloppy and real
Yep.
excited as a kid
As a
would.
kid would, yeah, exactly.
Asajj says she has a high M count. The Empire will find her. Omega wants to know what she is. This was like a pretty emotional scene for. She's like, people are chasing me. People are doing this. I don't even know why. I just want to know what I am and why I'm so important. Whatever. And then Asajj tests her the way Yoda tested Luke. It was pretty funny. And Ryan Airy said, this was probably the way that she was tested because she wasn't in the Jedi Academy.
Right.
She was on that other planet, blah, blah, blah. You're focusing on the wrong things. Let go of your conscious mind. And she was like, I don't even know what that means.
Yep.
That was a good line. Wrecker Hunter are helicoptering parents.
Yeah, I love when they go out on the boat, how she's just like,
Yeah.
she's like, I see you.
I see you. Stop staring at me. He's like, how do they know? How does she know that we're still looking at her? Test 2 to get the white blossom before sunset.
Which was really just a task to get her out of there so they could have their fight.
Yeah. And that was a good fight.
So I'm positive that was another fight where they used motion capture.
Okay.
It had to be.
Yeah.
It looked completely different.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you noticed while you're watching it, but if you didn't, like, watch it again and look at the movements of the body. It looks real.
Yeah.
It looks
Yeah.
way. So I think they must have motion captured that one. And it was not only awesome just because of that. It looks so much better when they do that. But I like what they did with Asajj. They made her move unnaturally fast. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like she clearly had the upper hand on all three of those and could kill them if she wanted to. But like even just like she was clearly showing restraint because she was punching and
Yeah.
stuff. But like just all of her punches are like this is moving just a little too fast to be real.
Right.
And that it makes sense because they're still using the real, looks like motion capture moves.
Right.
But it's moving just oddly and fast enough that's like, oh, I see what's happening.
I see
here.
what's happening
She's
here.
just she's a Jedi.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that it was an awesome scene.
It was totally an awesome
It was
scene.
my favorite scene of the series so far.
Okay.
For sure. Just
And
the fight
even
was great.
the very beginning when they pull out the guns and she just goes,
Yep.
and she just throws them aside and says, "No cheating."
No cheating. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the snake voice, the way she slurs her S's, but her S's. But also the pauldron on her shoulder, on her left shoulder, is also a snake.
Yeah. So that's in reference, I think, to this snake from the book that I was mentioning.
Yeah.
And then if you notice in the octopus's eyes, kind of like that,
Right,
that black
yeah.
little squiggle like that. So I think it is almost. It's supposed to be like a harken back to that in some way. I don't know.
So, but whatever. So good shot, very good shot. And she had a yellow lightsaber. So now that she went from Sith to then just a bounty hunter, she said, "You know what? I'm going to get a different crystal because I know where they are, and I'm going to get a yellow lightsaber."
Or do you think it's the same crystal that was unbled?
Maybe
Because the new canon changed how lightsaber crystals become red.
okay.
Because in the old canon, it was, you get a natural lightsaber crystal and it's a bunch of different colors. But if you want to be a Sith and get a red one, you make a synthetic crystal, and that specific synthetic crystal will be red.
Okay.
But in the new canon, just in the past 5 years, like with Kylo Ren, essentially, they changed it to where like a Sith actually has to do a process called bleeding
the crystal.
the crystal, and that's part of the reason why Kylo Ren's had those side things, those side vents, because he messed his up and cracked his crystal and it became unstable.
And that's also why it was so
it was all jittery
and stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm wondering if maybe because in the Ahsoka book, and they do it I think it's the same fight that they kind of show in Tales of the Jedi with that did you watch Tales of the Jedi?
Yeah.
At the end of hers, where the guy comes to the village and she has to fight him, and she takes his lightsabers.
Right.
Those are the white lightsabers that she has. They're his red lightsabers that she purified.
She then purified
the
them. Okay, and turned them.
They turned
white,
when she purified them. So I'm wondering if maybe
when
hers,
Asajj did it, they turned yellow. Could be. That's a good idea. Yeah, I like that. Then they have a whole conversation because then Omega comes back. She's like, "Stop it." And they're saying how she's a war criminal. And she says, times have changed. We were all pawns in the same war. I am many things, but I am not your enemy. And it's true. Like, they were war criminals also. They just happened to be on the
other
winning side. Yeah, which is an interesting way of looking at it. Like, both sides of the war are fighting for what they think is right. And it's just, the history is written by the winners.
Yep. And then the irony of Crosshair saying you're being naive, and it's like, bro, have you been here the last 3 seasons? You're the whole reason this works. Shut up. I'm making your argument for you.
If she's as bad as she says, why didn't she kill you? And they were in the war as well. I didn't give up on you. I say we give her a chance. This is Omega talking to them. She's like, look, and this is her empathy, which is what maybe is what she's most force sensitive about, is feeling people's feelings without even knowing it, and know that Asajj is truly not there to hurt them, even though they don't want to believe her. But Omega can see through all that. Either that or she's just a naive kid. I'm not sure which it is.
And then she really proves herself by making a bunch of jellyfish circle the boat.
Yes.
Up until then, she single-handedly fought off all 3 of these guys. But like, why should I follow you?
Right.
Ooh, pretty jellyfish.
Oh, you can make glowing jellyfish circle the boat.
Ooh, big squid.
Oh, you made the X-Wing come all the way out of the water. But that X-Wing is now a giant turtle squid with a giant claw tooth. She does not have any Jedi training. She's almost saying she will. I thought she was saying, like, I'll train her. Right. Like, kind of like how she was trained outside of the Jedi Temple. I'll train her type of thing is where I thought she was going with this. And then you talked about the haircut. I wrote down about her haircut. At one point, at first, before she swam underwater and it was flowing around up here, but she had her hair combed over her left eyebrow. And then at one point when she first jumped in the water and was swimming down to save Omega, you saw the 2 tattoos on her forehead. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that she had them. When she was bald, when she had no hair, you could see it so much better. And then I was even looking, like, they even went to the point of showing that the rest of her hair around the back and the sides is there. Right. It's just shaved short. Right. And then when she was swimming, all her hair was just up on top, which was cool. And then then they're attacking, and that's when she says, I can do this on my own. She reaches out, blah, blah, blah.
She pets the beak.
And the thing says, okay, I'll calm down, and I'll put you down, and I'll go away. And then at the end, she tells Omega that she does not have a high M count.
Yep. All that, and it's like, nah.
And Omega's like, well, then I'm really confused, because then why are people after me? And then she leaves, and then they go, you're lying.
Yup, you got me.
Yes, I am. And they said,
don't tell Omega.
And then they say, what side are you on? And she says, my own. And then she says, the Empire can try to get me, but I still have a few lives left, which is how it ends, very, very poetically, hinting back to, like you said, in the book when she died, but now we know that maybe she didn't die. So that was the end of episode 9. I enjoyed episode 9 a lot more than episode 8. Now that episode 9 came out, if you would have asked me before episode 9 what I thought of episode 8, like what my ranking would have been, it would have probably been in a low, Chewie, high, what's below Chewie, the Porg or the Ewok, depending on if it's your ranking or my ranking. Right. Because it wasn't like it didn't do anything.
There was not it didn't affect the overall story all that much.
We just saw Fennec, and then it's like a Marvel movie where you watch a whole Marvel movie, and then you're most excited about the extra clip, the cameo at the end, where you're like, oh no, it's going to be
And I think we said this last show too. Is like every episode just feels like a long setup for the next episode.
For the next episode, yeah.
It's never a satisfying episode. It's always about, well, just wait till next time.
Wait till next time, yeah. But then episode 9, when you put the two side by side, it was a better. I would go all the way up to like a Chewbacca at that point, because it was a good setup for episode 9. Back to back, they're a good combo together.
Yeah, and my assumption is next week releasing 2, they will likely imagine something big is going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this again all set up for that, and it's hard to gauge during. It'll be easier in the postmortem, but
Right, and there's 2 episodes next week, 10 and 11. Was there 14 episodes
I think
or
14 or 16?
maybe 16? Bad Batch.
Certainly more than any of the live action ones.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I get it. It's cheaper to make cartoons than it is live action.
Apparently,
but
people cost money.
And doing it in real life. Yeah, there's 15 episodes altogether. May 1st is the last one, right before May the 4th be with you.
Man.
Yeah, so we just had this month and then one left. Identity Crisis and Point of No Return are the 2 that come out together.
Well, that sounds like it sounds like something gonna happen.
Yeah, because it's going to be the point of no return.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get it past the point of no return.
That's what you want to do.
That's
Otherwise,
what you
you
want to
can't
do.
return.
Right, you can't
You're
come
past the
back.
point of no
You're
return.
past it. It's too late.
There's no
too far.
returning.
There's no returning. All right, so this pale ale was good.
Yeah, man. I drank this is all I got left of it.
There you go.
I'm about to drink the last sip.
Yeah.
I finished a whole beer. That's a lot.
Finished
for me,
the whole beer. Nick finished the whole thing. So, Adam, thank you very much. We will keep drinking these.
I just realized I have a little bit left in here.
That's okay.
I'll finish that. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. We'll have to try either the blonde or one of the other ones next time, but the pale ale was a delight.
The pale ale was a delight. Yes, it was. All right.
If you want to send us beer or alcohol or a PlayStation 5, you can.
Yes.
Just, send us an email
Send
and
us an
we'll tell
email.
you where to send it. And just make sure you send unmarked bills.
Benjamins.
We prefer our
Stacks.
cash in suitcases.
Yep. The kids call it stacks these days.
Stacks and stacks.
Stacks.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
Yeah.
I went 3 stacks. All right. I wish Jason would send us a stack of anything.
Send us some stacks, man.
That's right. Oh, before we go, ears up.
All the ears is people.
Yep.
Puny Pod.
Puny Pod.
Scraping the Vault.
Scraping the Vault. The Supreme Resort.
Supreme Tacos.
Supreme Tacos. Taco Supreme. That's it. So, all right. And if you want to send us anything, you know what it is. Email us at banthamilkpodcast@gmail.com.
That's where we're at.
Check out our Facebook page. Check out our Insta. Check out all the stuff that we don't post anything to anymore.
Don't check out our X.
Don't check out our X. We haven't even opened it up. I don't even know if the password's the same anymore.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Elon77 or something like that.
Probably is. He changed all of them.
All those passwords.
Every password on X is now Elon is God.
77.
Elon77.
Oh, boy. All right. From all of us here, right here in Bantha
Right
Podcast
here.
Headquarters, we've spoken.
We have spoken.